Bryan Gaiser is an investment advisor representative of Advisory Alpha LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. All opinions expressed by Bryan Gaiser are solely his own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Advisory Alpha. This recording is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. Investment advisory and financial planning services offered through Advisory Alpha LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance, coaching, and educational services offered through Gaiser Financial Group. Gaiser Financial Group is a separate and unaffiliated entity of Advisory Alpha LLC. While tax and legal services may be discussed in the general course of financial and investment planning, Advisory Alpha does not provide tax or legal services. Please consult with your tax or legal professional prior to making decisions related to these issues. This material is not endorsed or approved by the Social Security Office or any other government agency. An annuity is a long-term financial product designed largely for asset accumulation and retirement needs. All guarantees are backed by the claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. All opinions expressed by externally cited sources are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Advisory Alpha. This is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. The case studies presented reflects the specific circumstances of one client and should not be considered a guarantee that another client or potential client may experience the same or certain level of results. This is for informational purposes only and should not be construed as investment recommendations or solicitation. Names have been changed to protect the anonymity of clients and are not testimonials in nature. Learn, grow, and take charge of your retirement. This is the Wealth Through Wisdom podcast with financial advisor Bryan Gaiser, founder of Gaiser Financial Group.
Of course, Bryan, when people get to retirement, they have their nest egg. The big question is, how do I get the money that I need out of this nest egg now? Because the setup to create our retirement income, unfortunately, it is not that easy. So how to withdraw? Because there are so many financial rules of thumb that we've heard over the years. The 4% rule, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that and Dave Ramsey. Because Dave Ramsey, if you're listening to this program, you've likely heard him before, financial radio show host, a national one, not a local guy. Well, he's saying the 4% withdrawal rule is stupid. But here's the thing. It's interesting because it might not be going where you think it's going to go. He's saying that it's forcing you to live on a lot less than you should. Yeah. And by obliging to the 4% rule, you might miss out on enjoying your retirement, which can be agreed upon for some savers, Bryan. But here's where things get a little muddy, according to his rule of thumb here. Dave Ramsey has said 4% withdrawal rule is stupid based on assuming a 12% return on your savings. You then withdraw 8% for income and you reinvest the 4%, that additional 4% to fight against inflation and to grow the principal. What could go wrong with this setup, though, for somebody?
Assumes a 12% return. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying don't shoot for it, but you also got to be prepared if you don't get it. So he says withdraw 8% for income and reinvest the 4% to fight inflation. That's if you get the 12%, right?
Yeah.
And everybody knows the sequence isn't 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, 12 every year.
Right, if only.
In returns. Would you agree?
Right.
It's not 4, it's not 0, it's not minus 20 every year either. It's not minus 25. But when you get a minus 25, what's it take to get back to where you were? If you get a minus 50, heck, it takes 100% to get back to where you were.
Right.
And that could potentially happen again one day. We don't know. Especially with the inflation led us to some pretty good recessions back in the late 70s, early 80s. Then we were able to kind of pull ourselves out by reducing interest rates at that time because it kept prices low. So there's so many factors involved with, the economy that depending on a 12% return, I hear him say too all the time, we always get 12% return. And it's just not a reality. Under that scenario, mm-hmm. It just really boils down to sequence of return comes in and rears its ugly head. And let me kind of explain that. Okay. So if in 1989, if you had $1 million, mm-hmm. right, mm-hmm. and you said, all right, I'm retired, I'm going to draw $50,000 a year, and every year I'm going to increase it by 3%. Mm-hmm. So in 1989, you retire, the market does almost 32%. You've had a great year. That was a nice run up in the market. 90, a little bit of a bump. 91, a nice 30% year. And as that played out all the way to 2008, when we went through the major crises, and then you went through 2001 crises, mm-hmm. well, started in 89 with that nice run up in the market, you did pretty good. You'd have around $3 million still left over, and you took out 50,000 and then increased it by 3% compound every single year, right? So you've had a great life. But if you just reverse those numbers, and let's say that 2008 numbers came the first year that you started drawing that 50,000 and then increasing it by 3%. Well, in 2008, you lost 38%. And then the next year you gained 5, and you had some pretty good years for a little while. Then you hit 2000, 2001, 2002. Because you got hit so hard in the beginning. Once 2001, 2002, 2000, once that hit in, right? Because we're just reverse the numbers. It's the exact same returns, just in reverse. You were broke after about 16, 17 years. You had no money left.
Jeez, yeah.
So to depend on thinking things are just going to always be 12%, I think is a mistake. Maybe if you did it in a way that I've had a client that said, look, he's now a client. At 62, he retired. He wanted to retire early. Mm-hmm. And he started drawing off his money. And he did it at a point where the market dropped pretty strongly the first year. Mm-hmm. And then within about 3 years, he realized I don't have enough to kind of live the lifestyle I want. I might have to go back. But he was a contractor in the IT world. So it wasn't the end of the world. He could still travel in his big camper van and work from his camper van, but because he worked from home and worked on a computer anyways, and he had a very large kind of home that he was driving around in itself.
Yeah.
So he went back and he decided at 65, I got to build back up my assets. I pulled down on them too hard, especially with that first big year of hit. And we restructured him in a way that he said, Bryan, I want to know that income's coming in. So we took a large portion of his assets, not all of them, not even half, just a good number. And it gave him surplus with his Social Security, which he suspended at 65, started back up at 68 when he decided that, okay, now I can stop the IT world for sure. Mm-hmm. We got him in a situation where his income is surplus, like Dave Ramsey's talking about here. But no matter what the market does, he's going to always have that surplus income, no matter what.
Okay.
So when there's ugly years, he doesn't have to touch the money he was drawing off of when it got ugly, and just figured it would work itself out. He was wrong in the beginning, and now he just corrected where he draws his money from. So folks, I know you've heard these kind of stories before. Sequence of return, hey, I could draw more off my money. Don't make that mistake where you have to go back to work. If that sounds like something that you've been contemplating, give us a call. That number is 336-586-5861. Let's look at your big picture. Once again, it's all about running the numbers. All depends on, we don't know what the market's going to give us this year, next year, the year after, the year after. We have outlooks and good forecasts. When the market's been in a bad way, like in 22, and it dropped, 30% by the middle of summer, down about 20, 21, 22 in December. Mm-hmm. It was a pretty good indicator. We'll probably be okay over the next few years. But if you're drawing off that money when you have those real deep drops, it can destroy you. Once again, that number, if something has pushed a button in you and it's like, golly, I need to do this. That number is 336-586-5861. We'll sit down in my office, kind of go over your big picture, run the math, and say, hey, what do you plan to do? Here's how to get the amount of money you need in retirement, surplus income in retirement. Give us a call. That number, once again, 336-586-5861. We're here in Greensboro on Dolly Madison, right off Friendly Avenue, right at Guilford College is what I'm saying. And love to sit down with you, love to go over the math. It's all about surplus income in retirement. I promise you, that should be the number one goal. When you achieve that, then worry about growing your money. And you got to grow your money, That's right. It's so critical.
Well, there's lots of things that have to be balanced out in a plan. But to your point, you were just saying, offices here near Guilford College here in Greensboro, because Dave Ramsey, listen, he's a smart guy and he says a lot of good, smart things, but he's a national guy. He's nationally syndicated. Just like Susie Orman, she says a lot of smart things. Blanket advice should not be taken as gospel for most people. It should be taken as a starting point. It's a nugget, a germ of an idea to begin. And then how can it work and play out for you, specific to you and your goals? Because the 4% withdrawal rate has been a strategy that has been discussed since the 90s. It works for a lot of people in a lot of cases. But what if you could do better? Or what if it's too much for you? And that's why it's so important to run the numbers.
It is. And it just boils down to, you know what it is? It's a benchmark.
Yeah.
Hey, here's my 4%. Can I get 5? Can I get 6? How do I do that?
Yeah.
And we look at your Social Security, add your 2 Social Security together. What does that cover?
Yep.
Or if it's just one of you, we'll look at your Social Security. What other income streams do you have? Do you have rental properties? All of these variables. Everybody's different. Mm-hmm. Do you have a pension? How much does that cover the expenses for the lifestyle that you want to have? Is there any surplus? And if there's not, let's create surplus. When you have surplus income, it encourages you to continue to invest in yourself. That's the one thing I like what he's saying here. Assuming a 12% return, take 8 and invest the other 4.
Right.
I'm all for that if you can do it in a way where you can guarantee that 8%, that strong income is going to always come.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
If you're drawing 3, 4 off, you can do that on a market account. If you want 8, you better look for other alternatives, and we can show you those alternatives and see how we can help you achieve what you want to achieve. Yeah. But drawing off the market and assuming it's going to pull 12, wow. I mean, you're going to get an unpleasant surprise at some point at the worst time, too. It's going to be just like that gentleman we talked a little bit ago. You're going to break your ankle and have a heart attack, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you're going to have that's when that kind of stuff comes along. Mm-hmm. You know that as well as I do. Yeah. So heed the warning, folks. It's all about proper retirement planning, but more importantly, with a focus on this is what I want it to do. And I want to know that money's not going to run out. Yeah. And I know I want to know I can continue to invest in myself throughout my whole retirement. Yeah. Once again, that phone number to give us a call. If you want to look at your situation, if something here has triggered your thinking, give us a call, 336-586-5861, 336-586-5861. Give us a call. Our operators are there. When you get home too, they'll take your message. They send me that message. I get back with you. They'll schedule a time with you. Or if you just have some questions you want to ask about that we've talked about in this show, give us a call. Once again, our website also is gaiserfinancial.com, GAISER financial.com. Give us a call, folks. I'd love to meet with you. Love to help you out on your journey. Gives me a lot of joy when I can help folks. 336, this is the number, 336-586-5861.
Thanks for listening to the Wealth Through Wisdom podcast. To learn more, visit gaiserfinancial.com. Bryan Gaiser is an investment advisor representative of Advisory Alpha LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. All opinions expressed by Bryan Gaiser are solely his own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Advisory Alpha. This recording is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. Investment advisory and financial planning services offered through Advisory Alpha LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance, coaching, and educational services offered through Gaiser Financial Group. Gaiser Financial Group is a separate and unaffiliated entity of Advisory Alpha LLC. While tax and legal services may be discussed in the general course of financial and investment planning, Advisory Alpha does not provide tax or legal services. Please consult with your tax or legal professional prior to making decisions related to these issues. This material is not endorsed or approved by the Social Security Office or any other government agency. An annuity is a long-term financial product designed largely for asset accumulation and retirement needs. All guarantees are backed by the claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. All opinions expressed by externally cited sources are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Advisory Alpha. This is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. The case studies presented reflects the specific circumstances of one client and should not be considered a guarantee that another client or potential client may experience the same or certain level of results. This is for informational purposes only and should not be construed as investment recommendations or solicitation. Names have been changed to protect the anonymity of clients and are not testimonials in nature.